What if you could read one series and walk away understanding almost the entire history of human civilization? Not just some Wikipedia skim or some manual or some quick YouTube video summary. The real thing: war, religion, art, philosophy, politics, all of it, traced from the first river valley civilizations all the way to Napoleon. Well, that series exists, and it's called The Story of Civilization. It's 11 volumes, and it's one of the most ambitious things ever written by one person. Well, one person and his wife, but we'll get to that. And this is one of the interesting things. L. Ron Hubbard actually recommended this series to be read by other people. And it looks like this. There are 12 books. They require some reading ability. They are not the easiest read. But Will Durant, he was a very special person. He started out as a philosophy professor in the 1920s, and he wrote a book called The Story of Philosophy that did something almost nobody expected. It turned dense academic philosophy into something a regular person could actually read and enjoy, and it sold enormously well, and that success gave him the freedom and honestly the audacity to attempt something much bigger. So he decided he was going to write the story of human civilization itself. Not one country, not one era, all of it, from the beginning of recorded history up through the modern age. And it became a project that consumed most of his life. And along the way, his wife, Ariel, became his full research partner and eventually co-author. The later volumes carry both their names, and honestly, they belong there. This was a decades-long, two-person's life work. So what would you actually see across these 11 books? Well, it starts with our Oriental heritage. The earliest civilizations: Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, China, the roots of human culture before the West even enters the picture. And then it moves into the life of Greece, democracy, philosophy, the birth of Western thought, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and the wars that shaped it all. Caesar and Christ covers Rome, from the Republic through the Empire and the rise of Christianity inside it, two of the most consequential forces in Western history colliding in the same volume. The Age of Faith takes you through the medieval world. Christianity, Islam, Judaism all developing in parallel, along with the art, law, and philosophy that came out of that era. Then it shifts into the Renaissance, and the Age of Reason begins, and that's a whole book. The explosion of art, science, and challenge to old authority that reshaped Europe from the ground up. And from there, you get the age of Louis XIV, the age of Voltaire and Rousseau and revolution. The volume that actually won Durant a Pulitzer Prize. And this stretch covers the absolute monarchy. It covers the Enlightenment, and from there it closes with the Age of Napoleon, the final volume, and it traces the man who rose out of that revolution and reshaped the map of Europe by force. It's 11 books, thousands of pages, every major civilization, every major idea, every war that mattered, traced as one continuous connected story instead of a pile of disconnected facts. And here's what makes this different from a textbook. Durant didn't just want you to know dates and names. He wanted you to understand civilization as a pattern, how art, religion, government, and economics all move together, how one era's ideas plant the seeds for the next one, how the same human instincts show up again and again across completely different centuries and cultures. If you read this series enough, you're going to start to see history less as a sort of isolated series of events and more as a single unbroken thread. The Greeks wrestling with democracy, the Romans wrestling with empire, the medieval world wrestling with faith and power, the Enlightenment wrestling with reason and freedom. It's the same species working through the same fundamental problems generation after generation. And that's why this series gets called a genuine map of the human mind across time. not just a history book. This series actually carries extra weight in the Scientology community because L. Ron Hubbard, he recommended it. If you're serious about understanding people, understanding history, understanding how civilizations actually rise and function, this is the kind of foundational reading that gets pointed to, not because it's trendy, but because it's genuinely comprehensive in a way that almost nothing else is. So it's 11 volumes, one continuous story, and if you want to understand the world from the deepest possible viewpoint, this is your key. The Story of Civilization is where you start, by Will Durant. So I just wanted to make a video about that. It's a very special series of books. You can usually find them in the library. Like I said, there's 11 of them total, and yeah, learn the actual history of Earth. All right, thanks for watching to the end.